Hey everybody, this is Whitney.
And it's your girl Alicia.
And this is the Luxe Hour podcast.
Thank you for joining us weekly, where we encourage Black women to elevate into luxury in all aspects.
Yes, okay. So, it's episode 4.
It is.
Oh my goodness. That's like a full month worth of episodes. I can't believe it, girl.
I really can't believe that we're here.
Listen, what a ride. What a ride.
Truly.
So, y'all already know what time it is. We're going to start us off with a wine of the week.
Ooh.
We back in the white section.
Yes, we are.
The white section just sounds so... By E5, I'm going to have a better name for this. But what do we have today?
Today, we have the Stella Rosa Moscato.
Ooh. We're going sweet white. So we have a Stella Rosa Moscato d'Asti. So good. I already had it before, y'all, but we're going to just try it together. This says, grapes for our delicious Moscato d'Asti are harvested from beautiful vineyards located in the northern Italian countryside. A refreshing white with flavors of pear and apple, served chilled with fresh fruit, cheese, spicy cuisine, and desserts. They not lying on the desserts. This is a dessert wine for sure. It's not super strong, 5.5. I mean, it's essentially a wine cooler. You know what I mean? Like,
at this point,
it's not very strong at all. But this is such a good dessert wine, like such a good dessert wine. I can never remember if this one has a cork. No, it doesn't.
No,
look at God. Can we petition to have no corks on all wine bottles, please? It's cute, but it's not functional.
This is true.
Okay, so let's pour us up.
We have larger wine glasses this time, guys. We truly do.
Figure we want to make sure we got the most bang for our buck. Make sure it's sweet. Okay, so there's that. All right, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can already see like it's bubbly. So it has the carbonation in there. So you're definitely gonna get a little fizz, kind of like you would get with soda. It smells sweet.
Does it?
It smells sweet. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna give it a little swirl, open it up. For a cab, for like a Merlot, that's gonna make it bolder. For this, it's gonna make it sweeter. So it just swirling it again just amplifies whatever the natural palate of that wine.
We are learning, guys. We are learning every episode. Please learn with us.
It's a winner. I taste those notes of pear and apple so heavy in this one. So heavy. It's what you expect from a Moscato, but it's very, very sweet. It's very good. If you like sweet wines, this is the one you gotta try. Like, I mean,
you guys might not know, but I'm pretty much sold on Stella Rosa. So
let's be honest.
Honestly, I'm sold. I actually tried this wine because I went to get Stella Rosa. They didn't have the black; they were all sold out, which is becoming more and more of the trend. So being that they didn't have that, this was the only one that was available. So I said, well, let me go ahead and try this. So, but it's been a while. So let me officially taste test. Okay. It definitely is sweet. You can smell it.
You can smell it.
Another twirl. Very fruity. Very fruity. And it's very smooth. And again, like we said, it's 5.5%. So it definitely tastes like it. It almost tastes like juice. But, like Whit said, to her point, it definitely would be perfect for a dessert or just perfect for some fruits, a nice little picnic, and things of that nature. I've actually used this for a picnic before. That's when I first tried it, and it was perfect.
Yeah. Just
for like fruits, finger foods. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
So refreshing. It's a summer wine for sure. So get it before the season's over. For sure. Okay.
Segueing into our treat of the week. Treat of the week. So me and Whit are always really excited about the treat of the week. It's funny, we had the same treat of the week. Was that last episode?
Last week, yeah.
Oh my God, it's so crazy.
Last week we took a day off.
I know. Lord. We actually haphazardly discussed that before the show. But yeah, we haven't discussed it this week, so I'm excited to hear about your treat of the week. But for you, those of you guys who don't know about our treat of the week, essentially it's the luxury that you indulged in for the week. So with that being said, Whit, what was your treat of the week?
Y'all, one of my credit cards, I'm done paying on it. Y'all made my last payment. It was like $900. I made it in the fitting room at work. I was so excited to make it. I was like, take this money now. Don't call me. Don't text me. I don't know you, sis. Like, whatever meeting you had, it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was a huge relief. That was easily, hands down, my luxury of the week. Luxury, as we discussed, it looks so different, right? Like, it can look like such a wide range of things. And for me, luxury this week was taking a bigger step towards financial freedom, financial security, long-term wealth building, and a big part of that was just getting this credit card debt out of the way. I'm very, very proud. I did that in 1 month. So it took me 1 month. I paid a little bit over $2,000 for the thing. And yeah, that's it. That was my luxury of the week.
Okay, come on, boss. Okay, come on, boss. Literally, I was so excited because for those of you guys who do follow Whit, she posted it on her story. And it was just super exciting. I think that that's a testimony in itself that you were actually at your second job when you made that payment.
Yes,
you know, it's honestly a reminder. This is what you're doing it for. You know, again, because that's a luxury, is to be financially free for sure, to be financially comfortable, to put yourself in a better situation, to put your credit in a better situation as well. So I mean, that's just major, and that makes my heart smile. But also at the same time, it's inspiring because we both have part-time jobs, you know, with that same idea in mind. Like, let's become financially free. Let's erase more debt. So that's super exciting.
Thank you, girl. I appreciate it, child. I appreciate it. I feel so good. I got one more card that I'm working on. Oh, I paid off my Target card completely. So that's I'm really 2 down. So I got
lives at Target, y'all.
Lit, baby. And one thing about me, I still been going. Okay, I just been using my debit card instead of my Target credit card, which has been making me aware I got some sense in there.
Yes.
But yeah, so those are 2 down, 1 to go.
Yes,
ma'am. 1 to go. And I will knock that one out in September, and I'll be done with this, honey. Then I'll be able to use my employee discount at work.
Okay. Congratulations, sis.
Thank you.
That's major. Like, so that's major. Whew, okay, so my treat of the week was actually just a bath bomb.
Amen.
Literally. Amen. It was really that simple. It was me treating myself to a nice bath bomb. Shout out to itsbomb.com.
Ooh.
Yes, my girl Drew. Check it out. It's ITZ bomb BOMB.com. That's where I get all my body butters from, my bath bombs. I'm actually about to place another order. She has a sale tomorrow.
We'll put the link in the bio. We'll put the her website in the description.
Yes,
so look in the description for it.
I like literally swear by it, hands down. I even use her chapstick. My sister, my mom now, we all use her chapstick as well. But literally, I just treated myself. So I had a bath, and I put my bath bomb in there. I was in there for about an hour and a half. Yes, I was. I took a shower before, indulged in my bath. You know, I just had some water. If you want to do it with wine, of course, however you set the mood for your bath. I had my candles going, a smell that I love, some nice lavender. And then I just sat there and I just rested and enjoyed. And literally, the thing that I love about this bath bomb and why it's so special and why it seems like a luxury to me, or why I deem it as a luxury, is because it actually has moisturizing agents in it for you. So some of the same things that she uses for her body butter is used for the bath bomb as well. Okay. So literally, once I get out of my bath, I actually don't have to put on body butter. I really don't. I still do because I'm extra. But you really don't have to. It's like you can literally feel it.
Yeah, because at that point you are the butter.
I am the butter. The chocolate butter.
And that's so period.
Yes, ma'am. So, but yeah, that was my luxury of the week. But I was really excited about it. I'm sorry, I have to.
It'd be like that.
And the reason why it was a luxury because I do one a week, but I haven't done it in like 2 weeks because I had so much going on, you know, to where I hadn't taken that time out and given that time back to myself. So, and literally, I went through my whole routine. I exfoliated, you know, my usually weekly routine. But anyway, exfoliated, got the body butter on, you know, wrapped my hair, you know, massage everything. So it was just it was a nice treat.
Okay, we love to see it. We love to see it, baby. Okay, you want to just get straight into it?
Let's get right into it, girl.
Okay, child. We talking about really love. So if you have seen this new Black Love movie on Netflix, a beautiful story.
It is.
We always celebrate Black love, but we gonna unpack this. Alicia, after she watched it, she texted me like, sis, have you seen this movie? And I was like, not yet. Girl, I watched it that night. I was like, oh, so this is what we talking about next week, right? like
at this point, we have layers to unpack on this thing.
So many.
Truly layers to unpack on this thing. So we'll start unpacking it from the very beginning, and we'll go all the way to the end. We'll recap it, and I even have some comparisons. But you know what? we're gonna get to that.
Yes.
So just to cap it off again. Firstly, if you haven't watched Really Love on Netflix, please go watch it. It has Be Fine, Chocolate, White Tea, Ghanaian. What's his name? Kofi. I just call him Kofi Sari Bay because that's
so cute.
Everyone,
Bay.
Yes, Kofi Sari Bay because he's just like chocolate perfection.
But he melt in your hand.
You know,
like
I'm sorry, I don't like it.
But you know, I gotta be honest and saying he fine, but he ain't no Daniel Kaluuya. And you know I love me some Daniel Kaluuya, and I have to make sure that I let it be known where I stand. but
reminding people of who he is, just in case they don't know his name.
Get Out.
He played in
Black Messiah.
He played in Queen and
Slim, Black Panther. Oh my God,
those are the 4 that I remember.
The finest.
It's a London accent,
energy.
But you know what? Doesn't he have a London accent? Is he from the UK?
He's from the UK.
Even though I know he's African.
He got the Idris situation going on. He don't have Instagram, anything like that though.
He doesn't have Instagram? Really?
Just a bunch of fan pages of women like me.
Oh,
for a chance.
I am crying.
No, but seriously, Kofi is fine. Kofi look like coffee. Okay, the baby is beautiful.
Literally, that's why his name is Kofi Saribe. But anyway, so Kofi's in there, and so the young woman, she was the co-star. I actually don't know her name.
What's her name?
But you know what? I looked her while you're getting her name. I looked her up on Instagram. Well, it was someone that it was Kofi that posted the movie, and so then I just went to the tag on her page. So she actually sings. Her name on Instagram is like Yo Sings.
Yeah, so her name is Yutha Wong Loy Singh, which is such a beautiful name. She must be. Let me see. I wonder if
I know she has an accent, but
biracial, because that's an Asian last name.
Yeah, it is.
But she's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
stunning,
gorgeous.
just as attractive as Kofi. Let's see. And her hair.
I love her hair.
I love they look so beautiful together. They look so beautiful together. Oh, she was born in the Netherlands.
Okay. I knew she definitely had an accent, and you can hear her accent in the movie as well too. So like it was giving me like East Coast Caribbean vibes in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's how I was like, I wonder what her accent is actually like in real life. But
I wonder where she's from. It says she's a Dutch actress, so she must have Dutch. Come on, Black Dutch.
All right,
Come on, Black Dutch.
We are everywhere.
Okay. Period. It's the origin. It's the origin story.
Yes, the mother of all. Okay. Anyway, we're getting off topic here.
So what was your initial overall review of the movie before we get to breaking it down? How many stars would you give it, and what was your just overall take on it?
I would give the movie 8.5 stars.
Okay.
I would give the movie 8.5 stars. I think that it was a great love story because it was very realistic. And I also felt like it was very unpredictable.
Yeah.
And so that I did appreciate, because at the same time, it didn't feel Hollywood scripted.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like something real. Like if you were walking the streets of DC and, you know, you happen to hear a couple talking about their love story, that would actually be what it was.
Yeah.
So it just felt very real, very authentic to me. I just didn't like certain stereotypes that were perpetuated with Black love, with Black women, with Black men.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was my thing. But it was an authentic story, and that's what I appreciated the most.
Yeah.
Very authentic. What about you?
I would agree. Star-wise, I would give it 7 stars.
Okay.
Because I would have liked to see more of I'm just a simp.
You wanted more of the love story in the love story
side of it. But like you said, it was realistic. And I was actually talking to one of my friends today, and I was telling her, like, I just hated how it ended.
I hated it.
But then I was talking, and I was like, it was like they just built up all of this for nothing. And I was like, well, that's most. That's how most relationships go. Like, and I said, well, never mind. Shoot, maybe that was the point. Yeah. So, but other than, I mean, I give it a 7. I give it 7 stars just because I'm a simp, and I would have just loved to see a happy ending, and I would have loved to see less struggle, more love. But I know that's not realistic. But I'm not watching the movie for realistic. I could look at my life for that. I'm watching the movie for hope.
I think everyone is gonna feel that part.
Yeah. So
you can look at our own lives.
Girl, hello. But yeah, so take us away, child.
Okay, so we're definitely spoiler alert, because we're gonna talk about actual scenes. We're gonna talk about actual lines that were said. Trust me, I have one that's ringing at the top of my head, which is in your house, but Blair Underwood said that. But you know, we'll get into that later. So taking it from the top. So let's talk about their meet cute in the movie.
Okay.
Right? So the meet cute in the movie was that they were at an art gallery, that he was being mentored by Michael Ealy's character, another fine brother of the
God, we
you know
thank
what? I'm sorry.
Well, Auntie Tab said, God, we thank you.
Lord, we thank you.
Okay.
Very focused. I'm trying, but Michael Ealy. Okay, so anyway, the meet cute was one of Michael Ealy's, his mentor, because again, he's an artist. He's a painter in the movie. Kofi is. And his mentor is Michael Ealy. And so Michael Ealy has a solo show. So the entire gallery was showcasing nothing but his paintings. So in the midst of that, he was walking around admiring his mentor's work. And while that happened, he walked up on a young lady admiring a piece that he also was admiring, but he also began to admire her as a piece as well. So there's this moment to where they start talking about the piece, and then they, and they're in sync, they're interested in each other's perspective, and then they turn and they see each other, and then they're drawn towards each other, like their souls are connecting when they first lock eyes. So that was their meet cute, but they didn't walk away with each other's number. He ended up getting pulled away by Michael Ealy, or the curator of the event, and then they met again, and I guess that was formally their meet cute at their friend's like opening event,
like a little after party.
Like a little after party event. So they met again, so they were mutual friends.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that stood out to me was. So it's 2 things. The first one was when they first met, right? And she was looking at the picture. I remember him saying, like, I really like this piece. Like, it's something right that stands out, right? And then she goes, yeah, it's because it's regular, right? Like, this is just, she said something along the lines of, it just depicts a Black person regular, like just living a regular life, regular existence, normality. And I think that was a foreshadowing for the movie, because it's kind of like we said, like the movie was a normal Black love story for the most part. Like it was a regular two it wasn't anything fireworks, but it was also very sad, right? But the piece looked like that, right? Like it was this older lady, and she was a beautiful older lady, but you could see that she had lived life.
You could see it in her eyes.
Yeah,
literally, you could see her soul through her eyes.
Yes, but then the other thing was like this spark that you saw between them, right? Like, and I'm such a sucker for the concept of like the one, right? And you could tell that when they saw each other, that they was like, I've seen what I needed to see. Like, you know, like they just kind of, something in them within each of them knew like, this is my person. You know what I mean? Like, and they wrote that vibe the whole movie.
Yeah, they did.
Well, as long as they could.
They did the best they could with what they had. Literally. And I think what stood out to me as well was the fact that when you literally meet that person, when you meet the one, I think that it will come back around again. Yeah. If there is a moment to where you guys, you know, depart or you move away from each other, if it is meant to be, you guys will have your moment to where you meet again. If it is meant to be.
So you believe like we all have a one out here? Like, do you think like?
I'm not going to say that we have a one. I think that all of us can say we have one that we let get away, meaning that we have that one person to where because of circumstances we didn't fully explore what it could have been, or maybe it was just the right person, wrong time. I do believe we have that person out there, but that's not to say that, you know, we're just all passing up our soulmates, because I do believe when soulmates connect, 9 times out of 10, you're not letting that other person go.
Yeah.
If they're your soulmate, if you really feel that way, and if you do, it is your ill. Yeah. You know, but yeah, so that's my thought.
Okay.
What about you?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm just naive in this way or what. But I truly do believe that there is somebody who is an optimal fit for everybody. I feel like there's a bunch of people who can be great fits, a bunch of people who can be amazing partners, who you can have amazing love stories with. But I do think that everybody has an optimal fit.
That one.
Yeah.
Like God ordained.
Yeah, I do. And I think, I don't know, I just think, I don't know. But like,
you know what? Because this is what I think. I don't know about y'all, but I believe my God has that one soulmate for me.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, I think that for me personally speaking, I would say that the reality of it is we're all not going to get married. And we're not all going to meet our soulmates. Now, when we have the love of our lives, I think that we all have at least one love of our life. And the reason why I don't think that we all have that soulmate is because I think that all of us aren't doing all that we possibly can to be the best version of ourselves to even attract or to maintain or sustain that relationship with that soulmate. And I think we get in our own way.
Yeah, and I'll take it a step further and even say, because I don't really fall into the camp that you have to be healed or perfect or even healthy before you find your person.
I don't think
what I do think is that you have to be in your lane. And both of them were in their respective lanes, right? So I think as long as you're in your lane and you're operating in alignment with where you should be in terms of positioning, I think it's highly likely if your person is doing the same that y'all run into each other, right?
Exactly.
Now y'all could be broke down, raggedy. This is where stuff starts to go left, because you guys can be not your best selves, not in great places, whatever the case may be. But if you're in your lane, I don't think it's possible that you don't cross paths with that.
Exactly.
person.
You have to at least cross paths. Now, what you do with it,
exactly,
how you water it. And keeping yourself at optimum capacity, you know, I think that is very dependent upon that person, you know, and so in that way you do have the power to, you know, run off your soulmate, or you have the power to truly allow that soulmate to do what it does, you know, to be your death, you know, till death do us part.
Yeah, and we see that in the movie, right? Because they have this fireworks beginning, right? And it's like super cute love affair. And then they move into like this honeymoon stage. You know what I mean? Like, and it was so sweet.
It was.
Such a sweet phase. But even even honeymoon stage be daggone, they almost didn't make it, right? Even in a fantasy movie Technically, we don't know if they did make it or not.
We technically don't. She just heard at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So how does it get from that firework fantasy? Oh my gosh! To like, how did they get there in the movie? How does it happen in real life? Like, how realistic was the movie in comparison to real life?
I felt like the movie was very realistic because the thing that really stood out to me the most was not even just the involvement, but the 2 cents of the family. So I think let's say, and that's why I say one of the parts for me was in your house, and that was Blair Underwood. That was the main woman's. That was her father. So essentially, in the movie, the leading lady, she comes from a fairly affluent family. Yeah, in DC, they have their own place in DC that they own in a nice neighborhood. They're educated. They speak eloquently, very well spoken. Successful. And she's in law school. She's a law student at Georgetown, right? In the movie. So, she's on the fast track to do the same things and to mirror their lifestyles. And so when she decides to move him into her home that she owns. And she goes home, she brings him home to meet the family. And when she does that, the family, immediately the mom is unimpressed. Unimpressed.
Straight black mama mode. From the time she opened the door, baby, she literally opens the door, pauses. Hi, sweetheart, to her daughter. Like, looks right past, like, all right.
And what was funny, I thought too, he said, pleasure to meet you. She said, it is. Literally, that is what she said. Mama. She said, it is. In other words, you are blessed with my presence, young man. And you are blessed to meet me and let alone be my daughter. Now, she may be impressed, but I'm not impressed. But so really that set the tone for the discomfort and for the contention between the foundation of their family. It really did. It set the foundation for that. And then we move into, he meets the father. They're at the dinner table. They're talking about what he does for a living, that he's in the arts, he's a painter, and that it comes out that, he's living in her home. They're living together and it's in her home. And they're completely dissatisfied. And I think that that's very realistic because a lot of times we all would like to say, well, I don't care what my mom says, my dad says, my sister or brother. I don't care. If I love you and I want you and I like you, I'm going to go for it. But we are heavily influenced by the thoughts, the ideas, and by the suggestions of our families. Especially in black families, especially if there is a breakdown or a mother wound or a father wound. All we want to do is to please that parent, or we might have some family enmeshment. We want our siblings to agree with our choice, and that taints the foundation that you guys have, because the relationship is between two. A man is to
leave his mama house and start his own.
Exactly, and cleave to his wife. So, and it's the same thing for the woman, because in this case and scenario, it was the woman. She that still, I believe that still rung in her head, and eventually we'll get into it. And I believe that was a part of her decision to take the job at that top 3 firm in Chicago. But that's why I feel like it's very realistic to right now.
Yeah, no, I would agree, and I think the interesting parallel in that situation is that his family wasn't any better, but it wasn't towards her, it was towards him. So he really had the daggers facing him at all angles, right? Because I remember he would, like when we first are introduced to his family, they sitting on the porch, girl, and he's talking about, he was either asking to borrow some money or talking about an art show or something. And and his sister was like, you selling sperm again? You know what I'm saying? Like, just really, just like, dang.
This is the line that Whitney.
I cannot, because it shows how little respect the black man has within his own home, right?
When he doesn't provide,
and that's what I was gonna say. And that's what I was gonna say, right? It's like we talked about on the episode with the Black Love. Black men are kind of damn if they do, damn if they don't, because they can't. But as men, they still need this respect in order to be able to grow. You know what I mean? Like, and that's to me what's so crazy is that they can't. Men cannot reach their peak without the support that they need. But they don't get the support that they need without being at their peak almost. And it's really black men that run into that because white men are taken care of by their family. They have a very different support system. all the way up until they just are
my father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
You know what I mean? My father brought me into this company, or my parents started me a Roth IRA when I was 3 months old.
I started at my father's firm. He gave me my first shot as a corporate lawyer.
This baby didn't have nothing. He didn't even have approval, right? Like, because I remember he was telling his dad in one scene, like, finally got my own solo show. And his daddy just kind of looked at him like, what that's supposed to mean to me? Like, I'm not impressed that
you haven't done anything.
Exactly. And I think that's what played a big part on his side, right? So when you have the disapproval from your family, the disapproval from her family, right? So now he has this intense desire to provide for her, right? So
and
he kind of
succeed
because he felt like, I need to earn this woman that I have, right? And I think that kind of leads us into how they felt out of that honeymoon stage, because she was still needing the time, the reciprocation of energy, the presence, the affection, and he was dead set on like, I have to become provide what this woman needs. And she was like, you are becoming less and less of what I need because you were what I needed, right? And I think that just like played a huge part into them like decline, like slowly falling apart.
Because really quick, let's double back to their honeymoon phase and what that looked like.
It was so beautiful.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
They were spending an abundance of time together. I mean, they literally spent they had an entire day date. Yeah. You know, to where they went to the park and you know they looked at art, they shared an interest, they were holding hands out in public, so public affection, guys. So there was public affection, there was food sharing, there was intimacy on every level, you know, and PDA was just a no-brainer. The entire time there was physical touch, there was acts of service. They were, you know, doing things for each other, wiping each other's chin, and you know, so literally you saw them literally giving everything that they had to that relationship, to that other person, in a pure from a pure standpoint.
And they were bringing each other into those passions, right? Like, it was at one point he was like helping her study, and then it's at another point where he was like, he made her a painting, or like brought her a painting, and she was like in the studio with him. So like they were truly becoming like part of each other. They were bringing each other into those pieces. It was a very, very sweet honeymoon stage.
And I thought it was so great because, again, as a painter, and back to your point of the man, I think sometimes we forget that as women, literally, we are there to nurture. We are there to plant seeds of encouragement, of uplifting. And literally, he was her muse.
Yeah.
For her paintings. And until the very end, he was her muse.
Or she was his.
Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Whoops. She was his muse. And so it was just beautiful when they were being the best versions of themselves. And back to your point, when they were in their lanes, in their own lanes, working to become the best versions of themselves, that at the same time, subsequently, they encourage the other person to do the same.
But as we know, there comes a point in every relationship where each person has to veer out of their lane to veer into like a community lane, right? So like I see it as like, if there's a 3-lane highway, you got one person cruising on the left, one person cruising in the right. Y'all have to figure out how to make room to both drive in the middle. And you know what I mean? Which means that somebody got to get in the front, somebody got to get in the back. Somebody got to take the head, somebody got to take the tail. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is what we kind of got into with those roles. Like, if a couple is not able to define those roles, this is typically the point where they crash and burn. Because if both of y'all want to, you can't ride side by side in the same lane. You can't do it, right?
Just literally can't. There isn't enough room.
There's enough room. Space. Somebody in lanes, one person has to go behind the other, right? And so if you're in your own lane, touche. And y'all can even be going just as fast. Y'all both be flying, going 130 down the highway. But when y'all merge into one lane, somebody got to get in the front, somebody got to get in the back. Somebody got to lead, somebody got to follow. And they broke down at that point because neither of them was willing to
take the back seat.
Neither one of them was not their dreams, and not in terms of like the roles that they play within the relationship. But neither of them are willing to take a backseat. Neither of them were willing to put their dreams in the backseat, their plans in the backseat. And what we see is like the hard truth is that, especially in the era that we live in, right? Because this is the first era where not only have women had dreams, but been able to put the feet to the pavement and make those dreams come to life in terms of corporate ambitions, in terms of earning potential in terms of starting their own ventures. Like whatever women want to do, they can do it. So women have dreams of their own, right? She wanted to be a lawyer. She worked hard for it. She was in school her whole life, this and that. She like, listen, I know I met this man, but I'm not willing to put that on the backseat so he can be a painter. And he had been vice versa, working to be a painter his whole life. You know what I mean? Like this is something that he had been taking the humiliation of being of making less than he should. A
broke artist.
Yeah, he had worked everything up to the moment that he ended up getting to where he had his own show and he could bring in his own money. And he was like, I remember he got that check and you could just see when he was looking at it like
it was beautiful. It was sorrowful. It was grateful. It was thankful. It was everything that you would imagine after a person runs, a marathon. Yeah, and they get their flowers, and that's what he got. But neither one of them could put both of their dreams were in competition with their love for each other. Yeah, and that's a point that so many couples hit. Like so many couples run into that mountain. And I think that mountain is based upon, okay, what you need, what I need, and for her, she just was like, okay, well, here I am, a Georgetown law student graduate. I have an offer from a top 3 firm
in Chicago.
This is huge. I'll never have this opportunity again. I have to go for it. But also at the same time, it was pressure from her parents. And then it was also, well, I would sacrifice it for him, but she didn't feel like he was giving that's what I was going to say, because effort or energy.
By the time she got that offer, they weren't in the same honeymoon phase.
Yeah, they weren't.
So by the time she got that offer, they were hitting that, like, because then
they were hitting
put him out. No, she didn't put him out. Remember
at that point, no, she didn't put him out before. She put him out after.
Before she accepted it.
She put him out after she accepted it.
After she accepted it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but
when she told him that she would accept it, she told him that she was going to accept the position, and he didn't fight. He was like, you know what, I think you should take it. I would,
Yeah.
And then that was just a part
that broke her. What do you think about that? Is that problematic? Because is that not what women...
Is that what we asked for, though?
No, we.
Well, a lot of women. I'm not going to say we.
Listen, ain't that what Twitter asked for?
That is what Twitter asked for.
That's what... So, what was the right move for him to make in that situation? Because if he would have been like...
Dang if he do, dang if he don't, I think it's what it was.
Yeah.
Because for her thing was, I want you to fight. I want you to support my dreams, but I also want you to fight for me. So that's a hard place, because for you would respond to that totally different than I would, but our heart can be in the same place.
Yeah.
We can have the same intentions.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was just that was a tough space to be in. That was a lose-lose for him.
And I'm just kind of thinking, but do you feel like subconsciously she didn't take his artist? Like, because I wonder if in her head she was like, this is cute and I love that you're an artist, but like, let's be real, baby. Like, I'm a lawyer. This is my house. And it's like,
oh God.
Because now that I'm thinking about it, how was that gonna work?
And at the time,
what did she want? Because I get that she wanted him to fight for her, but what did she want him to say? Like,
I felt like, and that's where a lot of us women fail. And I wanted to. This was something that I thought about, and this is a realization, some clarity that I've recently gotten, and that I've tried to start applying, is that we have to be very clear in what it is that we want, and we have to be able to articulate that. Because to your point, I think that she knew that she wanted him to fight for the relationship. She wanted to see his effort, but it's not like she didn't tell him how she wanted him to do that. But at the same time, I think that was also because subconsciously, to your point, I do agree. I said, she ain't taking his little artwork serious, Yeah,
because I'm thinking, what was there to fight for? Like, they were, if I remember correctly.
He did but he got his solo show. And that's why he was at the studio so much.
And that's what I was gonna say.
He was making money now. He was on the come up.
So then what that really means is that when his career picked up to the same level as hers, she had a problem with it. And it's like either
she didn't want to take the back seat.
She didn't want to take the back seat, even though, I don't know, I think sometimes as women we can be we want it all. And that's not always possible, right? Like, when I think about, like, okay, both of y'all have dreams. Both of y'all have ambitions, right? Is it fair to want him, if he had just got his solo show, right? And this is what he's been working towards. This is what he's been working up to. And your response is, I'm not getting what I was getting. Whatever happened to like couples taking turns taking a backseat? Like I always hear like these like stories about certain couples who, like, for example, the mom stays home with the kids while the kids are young, and then once the kids get older, grow out, go, the dad's made money, then he takes his money and invests it in whatever business the mom want to start. Right now the mom is 40, 42. She want to start her own business. She want to start a, I don't know, maternity line, a baking company or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what? I guess I just I don't know.
I think we're just a bit more traditional, and I think I think also, if we're being honest, I think that we're two people that in today's society it is, and I'm not gonna say it's a complete anomaly, but we are two women who believe in gender roles, who believe in love, who desire marriage, who desire a home, who desire that entire family dynamic of two people working together, but the man still leading.
But I think too, like, I think women who lean towards a more modern approach sometimes get caught between both worlds. And absolutely. I think what men try to say in probably the least tactful way possible is that you can't have it both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, exactly. We kind of have sold ourselves this dream that you can have both, right? That you can, and you can have both at different times in your life.
Not at the same time.
Not have both simultaneously. Absolutely. Not in a stage where both of y'all are building.
That was absolutely what it is, because when she was, I remember she was sitting in the bed, and like she was studying, and then he came home and he really wasn't present. When he came home, he was so tired from doing what he had to do and taking care of business, but he still came home. And I'm not saying that it's okay to say, well, he came home even though he's not present, but at the same time, if you're a woman who's desiring for a man to be a provider, then what is the problem with him coming home from a hard day at work and saying, you know what, well, today he can't be present. Just like some days, I'm sure as a law student, there are plenty of days where you were completely in your head, or you were in mock trials all day, and you didn't have the time or the energy to come home, cook him a meal, and do the things that lovers do. So I think that there was I would just remember thinking, I was like, she needs to have more grace with him. She needs to have a little bit more grace with him.
And I think, to be fair, on her side, I think men do this thing where they get women used to one thing in the dating stage, and they don't upkeep what they started. You know what I mean?
Like, that is always the case. It's I'm not gonna say always, but that is the case oftentimes. And to be fair, men and women do it, but again, we're putting this on men because men do set the tone. They set the pace. At the end of the day, women, we have access, we control the access to sex. But men control the access to relationships. They do. Marriage, obviously. They're the ones who propose, I mean, if you believe in that still.
Maybe some women be down here on their knee.
Because I don't know. Some of you guys will propose to your husband or have proposed, whatever. We're not, hey, do you, sis. But, traditionally, yes, the man proposes, so he is the gatekeeper for a relationship, like we're the gatekeeper for sex. That's just what it is. Because it's like, okay, and I think that's why some women are really turned on by the fact that, they can kind of control that. But truthfully, at the end of the day, we don't control the relationship though. We don't. If he doesn't want it, if he doesn't ask for it, or if he doesn't get on one knee, then there is no relationship. So it's just a very interesting dynamic. But I just, in this case, yes, hands down agree that, again, to a modern woman, you cannot have it all. You cannot have it all. There has to be balance. And again, some men are looking for a power couple, some masculine men, which that's what most women want. If you're heterosexual, you want a masculine alpha male. Most masculine alpha males are not looking for a corporate maven. They're not looking for boss babe, big hog dog status Most of them. That's not to say that they aren't out there. They are, but you have to understand that, again, you know, there's a balance that is required.
And it's trivial, right? Like it's trivial in nature because what it comes down to, and women hate this so much, but men are ego-driven creatures. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, he just needs to feel like the man. Mm-hmm. And he can't feel like the man if you the man too. You know what I mean?
Correct. Take your pants off.
It's so,
when you get home.
And I get it. Like, ladies, I get it. I wanted to, like, I get that to us. That makes zero sense. And in theory, it's like, well, he's just a small man, right? Or he's just an insecure man. But he's not. Any man that's masculine in nature is ego driven. And Absolutely. Your grandmas will tell you, your aunties will tell you, you don't have to tolerate abuse, but you're going to have to stroke an ego. If you want a happy home,
you have to.
You're going to have to. That's so pivotal for women, and it's a fact that we hate. And I want y'all to know that I feel y'all and I hear y'all, but they do not change the truth. It should be different, right, in an ideal world. But what should also be different is that if from a man's perspective, right, what don't make sense to me, even as a woman, it's like, well, pick a side. You want to be the head honcho or you want to be taken care of?
Exactly.
Which one is it? That's a fair, you know what I'm saying? And so for them, it's the same dichotomy. They're just as confused when women say, well, I want to be an equal, but I also want you to be the leader. They're just as confused when we say that.
And honestly, I think that's why it pisses a lot of men off when they, feminists, modern day feminists, because they'll say, okay, so you're saying we are equal, but you still want me to pay all the bills? We going 50-50 then. If that's the case, if we are equal, and I have to understand that perspective, because understanding a woman by nature, a man by nature, masculinity by nature, femininity by nature, then you have to understand that there is a balance. There is a backseat, and there's a driver and there's a passenger. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, it's like you have. I remember, I'm not gonna name any names, but a great tip that a woman gave me who was married for some years, decades. I remember seeing her. I watched her. I remember she said, oh, babe, can you open this soda? I can't get it open. And then she handed it to her husband. And then her husband, popped it open. And I just remember thinking about this particular woman. I was like, this woman is strong.
I know you can open that soda.
She can open this bottle, But, and I remember I asked her later on, I was like, why did you ask him to open a bottle? You can open it yourself, And she said, baby, you have to understand that when you have a man, especially when you are married, and especially if he's a true man, an alpha man, he needs to feel needed. Mm-hmm. He needs his ego stroked. He needs to know that you need him. He needs to know that you look to him as the head of the household, as the stronger vessel, because it feeds that ego. And I remember thinking as a kid, I was like, why do I need to feed his ego? Mm-hmm. But now as an older woman, I do understand, because again, if I'm expecting you to play provider and protector, then I have to make you feel like that.
And I wonder if at our core, hear me out. Just hear me out.
Go ahead, honey.
So you said when we started the show how she was largely driven by her parents' desires for her, right? Like her parents.
She was.
She seemed like she didn't want anything more than to be loved by that man.
Correct.
I wonder if the corporate lawyer alpha woman situation was even what she really wanted. Or I wonder if there are times when we do that to validate ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. Because if that was what she really wanted, the conversation would have been like, listen, babe, I got this job in Chicago and I cannot pass it up. This is top 3 law firms. This would do amazing things for my career. I can't miss out on this opportunity. Like, will you come to Chicago with me? Instead, she was like, so, I mean, like, you've been kind of mean to me lately and you ain't been there like you used to. Like, should I just take this job in Chicago? You know what I'm saying?
It definitely was. I think she wanted to see if he was going to fight for the relationship, but she went about it the wrong way.
But what I'm saying is,
she did not truly, because again, she enjoyed being, she used to do some work with the local charity in DC.
And that's what I'm saying is I wonder if sometimes women who identify as more modern, if they really feel that way, or if we can be guilty of lying to ourselves
to validate ourselves.
To validate ourselves,
or to overcompensate.
Because that was even when she did end up taking it, it was almost like a nudge to her ego. Like, you don't need this, man. You got this. You can move to Chicago and work for the top 3 firm and this and that. But she wouldn't have taken it if he would have said, "Nope, baby, I want you to be here with me. But I want to take care of you. I don't have enough with my art show to take care of us." She would have been right at DC Community College, whatever, right? ICDC, taking her little lock, because, and that's not to say that if women have a true desire for a career that they shouldn't pursue it, but women who have a heavy desire for career don't pursue men in the way that, not even pursue relationships, right? Yeah. They're not interested in settling down either.
They're not.
You know what I mean? Like, and so if you find yourself as a woman who wants to settle down and be a wife and a mom and all of this stuff, but like also want to drive your career home and also want to do this and that, like,
I would say just be prepared for a struggle, and at the end of the day, you will have to lean towards one bucket.
And be clear on which you want more.
Exactly.
Right? I don't know.
I get exactly what you're saying. I think that, again, and it goes back to just what we just both so happen to believe is the role.
Yeah.
Who's truly head of house, and what are your roles within the dynamic of the family, of love, you know, as the man, as the woman, you know, where's your place? Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is. And then that understanding that, or clearly defining that for yourself, that helps you to determine what it is that you truly desire.
Yeah.
Because in this case, taking that job in Chicago, that was not what she desired, you know. But again, like many of us women, we will overcompensate, or we will use material things or money, or, you know, careers, jobs, bags, shoes, whatever. We'll use that to validate ourselves, to fill this void of desiring companionship and love, true love. You know, so in a sense, and I feel like in a lot of times, like she did, we use that as our fallback plan, or we handicap ourselves with it, or a little bit of both.
I'm good for that. I couldn't have the man I wanted. I got a second job. I mean, listen, like, we all do it for real.
We really do all do it, you know. And at the end of the day, I think that all of us can, you know, the idea of, well, you know what, I'm just about to boss up, you know, I'm just about to, you know, get to this bag, you know, I'm gonna make my money, I'm gonna buy some nice things, and I'm gonna give me a new car, a new place, a new home. And that's our way of repairing ourselves after a relationship, or that's our way of validating ourselves where the man of our affection didn't validate us.
And that's what I think I'm trying to say, is that as women, we have to get better at understanding when we're doing that, right? Because if you can't identify when you're just boosting yourself, you know what I mean, then you'll leave the man you love in the city behind and go pursue a career that you don't care that much about. You know what I mean? Like, but you will if you convince yourself that, like, this is who I really am, and this is what I really want, instead of, listen, while I'm in the meantime, between time, I might as well build up a bag. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that as women, we do that a lot. And I think she fell into that, and she didn't expect him to stay in DC, like, you know, or
she expected him to follow. But again, it was because she looked at his little art career, and she figured that her job as a lawyer was just more important, and that this was a once in a lifetime opportunity, not knowing he could be the best Basquiat. You know what I mean? Like, so that was an interesting part of it too. I think, so let's hit the end and let's recap. Okay. Because it's so much to unpack here.
So much.
So the ending of the movie is where she moves to Chicago, and she's living in Chicago. It's a year later. He just so happens to have a solo show in Chicago. He doesn't have a solo show. He's a part of a big show in Chicago. So it's a big deal. And she happens to pop in with a date. I don't believe that was like her boyfriend or anything, but it was a date. She was there with a man. But you can tell it was a fairly new affair. And they see each other, and they have this moment, and sparks fly. Clearly there's still a connection, there's a draw. They are truly the loves of each other's lives, and but she's there with someone else, and he doesn't care. He's just happy to see her, but he's still very respectful. he goes back home to DC, and then she just so happens to, did he invite her to his solo show?
Now this is the part where I missed all of this.
Okay.
I fell asleep on the last 15 minutes. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I was gonna go back and rewatch it before this, but crazy day. Anyway.
I'm hollering. So what ends up happening is he has his second or third solo show. He has another solo show in DC. By this time, his career is booming. He's in the New York Times. They've written up an article on him, and this show is highly anticipated. And so one way or the other, whether he reaches out or whether she just hears about it, she comes back to DC to she wants to check it out with the desire, with the intent of checking it out. But she goes to her mom's house, and she was just like, "Hey mom, I'm just here to visit you." And instantly her mom knew, this is outside of your comfort zone. This is outside of what you normally do. You're not here to see me. What are you running to? And she gives her a moment, and they just have a moment to where they don't exactly discuss it, but her mom understands. She knows, and she just allows her to lay on her chest. And so then from there, he does, when she gets in town, he does invite her out. He meets with her, so they have a conversation. They end up spending the day together. They end up making love.
I'm gonna have to go back.
They end up making love.
Better than I thought.
And they have this awakening. So the next morning she wakes up, and again they're supposed to spend the day together, but he's being sidetracked because he has to do things to prep for his art or his show. And so now she's like, okay, you're doing it again. You're not giving me the attention, the affection. I'm here. Maybe this was a mistake. So at this point, she leaves, and he's like, I love you. I'm in love with you. Like it's you who I want. And she still decides to run out. Now the show was later that night, I believe. It was later that night. So anyway, the show is going on. He's anticipating for her to be there. She hasn't shown up yet. And so he's working the room, he's talking to, the patrons and all of that. And basically she's just saying how, okay, basically at this point, you're amazing. You're great. You're on your way up. So we know that he's continuing to excel and climb as a respected artist. And so then from across the room, he spots her frame again. And she comes in and they have a moment where they meet and they connect. And so they start talking, they start chatting, and she congratulates him. And then he says, before she's about to leave or before it gets weird, he says, I have something I want to show you. And so he directs her to a painting, and it's a painting that is clearly her. Yeah. It's her. But you remember earlier in the movie when they showed you his phone, her name in his phone was her. Like it was just her. She's the one. That's it. And so I thought that was powerful. So the painting is a picture of a woman that is clearly her, and it's just like her, like slightly naked, one breast out, one nipple out, a sheet draped over her, and she's in the bed with her natural hair, and the painting is titled Her. And so they stare at this painting together, and it's just like no words have to be said, and the movie cuts off, and I was pissed. I was pissed. I'm sorry for yelling, guys. But the movie cut off, and I was pissed. I was so stressed out. I was just like, wait. And I got so mad. I turned the daggone TV off, and I went to sleep. And because I forget which night it was, but I was so mad. I turned the movie off and went to sleep. I was upset.
I'm so over it. I feel like my opinion is unpopular. It is.
What do you think about the entire movie? Okay, let's hear it. Overall, how it ended, I guess, because we've talked about every other part, but how do you think it just ended overall? What was good about it? What was bad about it? What was problematic about it?
Lauryn Hill once said, it could all be so simple.
Jesus.
But I'll paraphrase and say, we'd rather make it hard. The fact of the matter is, if you're in love with a man and he has a dream, your job is to nurture it. Nothing else will work. I get that there should be a perfect world. I get that things should be different. There's plenty of men who do not have dreams of their own. I just feel like it's unnecessary ego kills love every time. And to me, that's the moral of the story. I think that's what's the most frustrating is that everybody looks at this and says, y'all could have worked through this. This is something that could have been if both sides would have given a little. You know what I mean? Like give a little, get a little, give a little, get a little. And it's just frustrating to me, particularly because of my own life situation right now. But ego is truly the killer of all things beautiful. And I think this movie was just a demonstration that it doesn't matter how beautiful something is, how strong the love is, how deep the connection is. If the ego is bigger, it won't work.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And I think so many things commonly kill love, but that is a major factor. And you have it on both sides. You have it of the woman and you have it of the man nowadays. You know, but if two could just simply say, look, hey, I want you, I want this, you know, this is what I'm struggling with, or this is what is difficult, but I'm willing to fight for it. Are you?
And I think we get ourselves into this because we don't understand that some of the thought processes that we build are rooted in illogical fallacies.
Yeah.
Right? So, for example,
and fear.
Marriage, coupling, relationship is to become one, right? To become one. But we go around telling people you got to be 100% whole, complete person on your own before you meet somebody.
And that's not true.
They're contradictory. If I build myself into a whole, complete, career-driven, build my own life completely, irrespective of anybody else ever becoming a part of that. When somebody else who's done the same thing comes towards me, then we have this clashing, this colliding where we cannot become one because we both are our own individual.
And we built up that fortress of this is my life, this is how I do things.
And it's just like, two can't become one in that.
You can't integrate that way.
You can't integrate. You only can integrate when, okay, you give this, I give that. You give that, I give that, you give this. Like it should be sacrifices, things that shared off on both sides
and compromise.
In order to allow for y'all to merge into one. And this generation ain't down for it, baby. This generation is like, why do either one of us got to give up anything?
And I think that's just such the hard part, you know. And I can just speak from personal experience when I say that if I look back over relationships, and especially the ones that really matter, I hate to say it that way, but the relationships that were, you know, or those situations in which, you know, there was a deeper bond or there was more love there. It was, I would say, in all of those cases, something that could have healed it or remedied it, would or prevented the fallout would have been compromise, would have been a lack of ego, or it would have been a willingness for both two people, and, you know, including myself, to say, okay, you know what, I want this. Let me be honest about what you want. Be clear in communicating what it is that what you want, and then from there, okay, let's compromise because we both choose this. And I think that's the part that's just so hard for so many of us. Either we're not communicating that, or the other person is too stubborn or narcissistic or egotistical to even really receive it, because all they're thinking about is what they want or what they have going on, and they don't want to, you know, ruin this or ruin that. They're not willing to merge. And so I think that's just the I mean, that's where we live. That's the current state of, you know, the dating pool, the marriage pool, and that's why so many marriages are failing, because we haven't mastered that. We haven't mastered compromise. We haven't mastered togetherness, oneness, and like you said, I think the biggest thing too is, I'm sorry, we are always in the process of making ourselves whole or doing the work to evolve and to grow, and there are always situations and circumstances that are breaking us down, so we're constantly having to rebuild ourselves, reinvent ourselves, rejuvenate ourselves, refresh ourselves, redirect ourselves. No one is going to be perfect.
And I truly believe that there is certain work that doesn't get done until there's certain changes and evolutions that the person that you love brings out of you, right? There's certain levels of growth that you don't hit until you're in that intimate relationship or that space with someone who loves you and who sees you and who's able to help you grow in certain ways and pull on you in certain ways and speak to certain things that other people weren't able to speak to. And at the end of the day, growth is a lifelong process. You know what I mean? Like, and if you go into a relationship with your feet locked in the concrete, the relationship will never grow. You have to go into a relationship deciding that this person is who I choose over career, over family opinions, over temporary situations, over changes in atmosphere, environment. Like, it sounds extreme, but that is truly what it is, and that's truly what it takes to decide that we choose each other. You know, no matter what. Like, like at the end of the day, like, somebody could easily look at it from a selfish lens and say something like, well, he didn't have to give up his dream, but his dream was to provide for her.
We don't understand what it's like to be a man, to provide as a man, and especially as a black man, which is what the majority of black women desire to be with. So therefore you have to understand that you have to be understanding,
and men have to make sure that whatever energy you bring to her, that is what you are responsible for maintaining. You set the tone in the beginning, and whatever you pull her in with, whatever energy you use to make her yours, to get her the woman that stands by your side, you have to maintain that. Women need that in the way that men need respect. And again, men, y'all might not like to hear it, but it is what it is. Whatever energy you started out with, I understand that his big art career took off. I understand that he was busy, and there should be seasons for that for sure. Yeah. But once that show passed, he should have been going big to make it up for her, right? Like, hey, absolutely. And then maybe they can get into some type of flow where she understands when he's preparing for a show. Like athletes' wives call it in season, right? So when your husband is in season, he's focused, he's locked in, but it's for you, right? But then men being able to, okay, once you have your show,
okay, it's my time.
Yeah,
it's me time.
It's you gotta be able to switch gears again. And I think that is what it is. I think,
yeah, it was deep. I mean, I literally, it was so good. I got a lot of revelation about, just past relationships, past experiences, dating, relationship, whatever it was. But I think that it's really beneficial to watch that movie as well as to listen to this podcast and maybe talk about it with some of your other Luxe ladies, at home. Get some different perspectives, talk to women of different ages, social economic statuses. Just get some different perspectives and make sure that you have the best mindset, the most wise mindset, the most holistic mindset to be able to tackle dating and love and marriage in a healthy and sufficient way.
Yes, and talk to your man about it. If you have a man, if you have guy friends, get their perspective. See what they felt like was the breakdown in the relationship. And don't hear them just to argue back or just to speak your piece. Hear them out just to hear, what did you think of that? When you watched it, what did you think, right? And here is so that you can understand how men think and what their perspective is. It'll probably help you in your own life. So, fact of the matter is, ladies, if you want to be with a man, you're gonna be with a man. I mean, like
that's it.
That just kind of is what it comes down to. But love can survive where ego dies. And so
that's good.
If you are in a relationship, if you are looking to be in a relationship, consider your ego. Consider how it plays into the success or failure of that relationship, or will play into the future relationships that you have. And keep that ego in check, because it'll kill everything beautiful. And we see that in this movie for sure, because it was a beautiful love story. But
it was. Oh my God, it was. And I think that's just a note to end on. Love can survive where ego dies.
Yep, love can survive where ego dies.
I love that. And it's a wrap, y'all. It's a wrap on Really Love. It's a wrap on this podcast on Really Love.
Yes, tap in this week to our Instagram. We want to hear y'all's thoughts. We're going to be sharing different clips from this episode with our thoughts. Yes. And just tune in, tap in, let us know what you think, join the discussion. We'll be talking through it on our stories, on posts, all of that. So
we're excited. I'm excited about this week.
Yes, so it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. All right, girl.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.